Hey everybody, Yankee and the Canuck. We're back for another Tuesday. How you doing, Yankee? Hanging in there. A trade war going okay for you guys?
I'll be the Canuck. That's JC the Yankee.
Uh,
And you know what? No, it's not. It's going to hell in a handbasket because we got these two bozo leaders here. One the provincial, one Ford. My province, and of course the PM, the Prime Minister, Carnage. He's wrecked. You know what? The plant was much better of a representation for a country than that leader. We should put the plant back in its spot again. When Trump when Trump put the plant at the end before, I thought that was classic. Good for him. He's got the IQ 3 points higher than plant life anyway. So come back, put it the way it was.
I love that comment he made to Carnival Clown when said, "Hey, you didn't call me governor, you called me president." And he goes, "Well, that's better than," Trump says, "I guess that's way better than what I called the last guy, which was governor. So
Yeah,
you got promoted. You're
yeah.
president now."
I like the comment he made at the last dinner. I think it was last night. I can't remember now. When he said, "Yeah, we didn't call this meeting to talk to Canada." I thought that was funny. No, we're doing this, for other reasons of trade besides Canada's not even in the picture. So get lost
But
already.
that's what look, the Canadian media. We'll get into what we were actually going to talk about it in a minute. But what's fascinating is Canadian media, and then the left wing, which almost all of American media is left wing, are all
Oh,
right
Canada.
pro this messaging of we need Canada, the U.S. needs Canada, we can't live without Canada, and nobody except for the people that watch television. That thing I have up there on the wall that's currently off,
Yeah, man, don't even get.
right?
Yeah,
Unless nobody's buying it. Nobody like you look
no,
at the size of the economy, the size of the GDP. Yeah, could you make things a little uncomfortable for the Rust Belt states? Yes, you could. Canada could, but on a whole,
no.
and the way we work with the way we subsidize and fund and grant things, and no, not really. I mean, the economy's smaller than California's economy.
I know. I don't think very many Canadians understand that California's got more
I
people than
saw a
the whole
great.
country.
I
That's
think I sent it to you. I saw a great joke. I think it was by Kalishi, their prediction market trading platform,
never
that
heard of it.
said that it doesn't matter who it is. It was one of those like Polymarket or where you
No,
can
okay.
bet on
All right. I'm
you
with you.
bet on ideas.
Yep.
You can bet on politics, and they posted. They're like, "Holy smokes! Nvidia, the chip maker,
Yep.
is now worth two Canadas. They're worth five."
I did. You did send that to me because I laughed my head off when I seen that. Yeah, that's about right.
Right,
They
right.
may even give
One
you
company
more.
is worth two Canadas,
Yeah.
and I was like, "That's
Because
what." That's what the people in Canada who watch the media and the people in the United States who watch the media don't get.
no. And you know what? The last 10 years, we've been closing down our industry, slowing everything down to a snail's pace. So, what we're actually producing now, which isn't much, is a shame. And I think that's part of the whole global plan, anyways, to set us up, have us go back to Europe and have us set up where we're just a stepping stone from right across the US border as a globalist communist community which is set to take over America. And I think that's the whole plan. So as retarded as that may sound, they want to have that connection with Europe and Canada so tight right now, which is not It's not going to happen. But they're hoping it will with all the propaganda they've been sending out, by, i.e., the king coming to open up Parliament. What for? What are you doing here? Get lost already. You
Well,
know,
yeah.
and
When you look at that, though, the king's not willing to redirect European Union money to keep Canada afloat. He's only doing it. He's doing it in name only,
yeah,
in support. Like,
his
see, I'm the
yeah,
king.
yeah, his intentions, as we already know.
He doesn't have he's kneecapped. He doesn't have the power or the influence or the financial resources to
No.
float any of the former or still current colonies.
Well, this is why the big battle right now going on between Trump and the King, the visiting back and forth. I'm sure that he's right incensed about Trump's moves on trade alone around the world. He's done well. I don't care what you think about the guy, but as far as negotiations go, art of the deal, whatever you want to call, the whole thing, he does good. He does very well at it. He knows business. He knows how things work and run. And America, well, Canada, never mind just America, Canada has always needed that. But instead, we get these limtards, supported by, well, the PMO's office and, of course, the WEF, which policies we've been following anyways, which drives me insane. But don't get me going on that because we have a more interesting show.
We do. So, Edward and I had been talking. We saw some interesting things about Halloween and how a lot of people think that Halloween is a pagan holiday, or that it is a satanic holiday. And you could, like, I get where people who are non-practicing Christians would look at that and go, "Oh, totally believable." I mean, it looks like every Alice Cooper rock concert we've ever seen. By the way, Alice Cooper is not satanic; it's a
No,
show. It's a
yeah.
absolute show. It's entertainment.
Uh-huh.
That being said, so we wanted to bring you something here, and so it is. If you follow me on the internet, I have a whole article written on Substack. I also have it available. It's on my timeline recently from today on X, called Allhollowtide: The Sacred 3-Day Catholic Journey from Death to Glory, which starts on October 31st and ends on November 2nd.
Interesting. It's Reformation Day, October 31st. So it's interesting why the Catholics moved from the spring to the Reformation Day to start, like the Protestant, Martin Luther, the Great Reformation. This is the day, October 31st. And what do the Catholics do? We'll move all this stuff from the spring to October 31st and then end it on the 2nd. I mean, come on, people, really? And then
Oh,
we got all the satanic churches saying, well, it must be a popular day. So then they're all piling in too. So now we got everybody fighting for that one day supremacy. It's just like Christmas when they say that Christmas is, well, it was a pagan holiday. No, it was a
no.
Christian holiday before. The pagans and the Romans tried to, capitalize on that because Christianity was exploding so much, so fast by the thousands every day. They had to do something. So they copycatted. That would be about the fourth, fifth beast AD now. That the emperor tried to do something to copy what the Christians had when they started celebrating on the 25th, which isn't his exact birthday. We all know that, but we all picked a day that was similar. That we all think that, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
even if it's the middle, we're going to take the middle in case he was the fall to the spring with the animals and whatnot that they had to attend to in the fields. Okay, we'll pick the middle. We'll pick December 25th. Fine, I don't care. No one cares.
We
So,
knew it was early winter, so Christmas would be just after
yeah,
winter starts,
some will say
right?
it's early spring, but it doesn't matter. We don't care. Like we just
Doesn't
put it on
matter.
in the center, so everybody can be happy on both sides. It doesn't really matter. We don't care. We're celebrating the day, regardless if it's right on or not. So we all are acceptant of that. Some have December 6th in the year. I guess that'd be Germany and Austria. Holland would be the 6th. It's close enough. We don't care as long
Sure.
as you're doing it and taking and making the effort to do just that, then good for you, right? But anyways, yeah, we don't want to get lost in the weeds on that. But
All
yeah,
right, all right, all right. So day 31. So Halloween. one day, not to the Catholics.
No,
Not to the
no,
Catholics. So
yeah,
day one,
it only
all,
starts.
all Hallows Eve, hollow translating and in the language that they like to use to
No,
translate things equals holy. So Halloween literally means holy evening. And what they were dressing up as back even as far back as the 500s BC, they were dressing up as saints. So they were wearing a costume
yeah,
or costumes, or you could perceive that, and they were sharing cookies, which would be the treat. So when you go back and look to the very beginnings of All Hallows Eve, and there's 2 more days in this or this Allhollowtide celebration, but we'll just start there. That's Halloween Day for us.
yeah.
Uh,
Let's start with the AD instead of the BC. Let's say around
80, sorry, 80,
580.
80.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes, you're right. My
Anyways,
mistake.
yeah. Start. Let's start with that because I find that bizarre.
No,
The
no, no. Yeah, my mistake.
I think it's bizarre that the very thing that Christians are not supposed to do was mingle with the dead, pray to the dead, do anything with the dead, because as the Lord says, the dead are dead. They don't hear or see anything. They're dead. And yet, and we're not supposed to do anything with them because that would be a very spiritual no, because it's not going to be the dead person you imagine. It's going to be a spirit, a very dark spirit that you're talking to instead. Anyways, we're not supposed to be doing this, but what are the Catholics promoting? Doing the exact thing we're not supposed to be doing. It just drives me insane. These people are promoting that wrong, and you don't have to be a rocket scientist. Just go back in the Old Testament and read some of the stuff that happened. Yeah, I think I quoted, King Saul leaving that one medium, that one spiritual left after, being committed to take them all out, kill them all, but he leaves one, and that's where he gets in. Anyways, yeah, you'd have to read so many stories about that, but anyways,
Well, and you're dead on what you said earlier with Reformation Day, Martin Luther being assumed to be right October 31st, and so
yeah.
you got that conflict.
Everybody's, yeah, like I said, everybody copies it. One important day, and everybody has to celebrate that and then throw their own stuff on the same day to dilute or pollute the very one thing that it was meant to do. But yeah, I know humanity too, like you just started out with, and yeah, that's exactly how it goes. But okay, let's carry on with that now. The very
Day
first
two.
day,
Oh,
day
sorry.
two.
Go ahead.
No, day one. We got day two now.
Day two, All Saints Day. Hey, Christians around the world, what is a saint?
Yeah, good question. Not many
Who
know.
who anoints saints? A lot of people listening will probably go, "Well, God anoints saints." Where in the Bible did God ever anoint a saint? Anyone? Anyone? Okay, so day two, All Saints Day. This is a requirement in the Catholic Church to attend Mass to remember the saints.
Now, what saints, by the way, are they talking about? I can tell you to name them, but where they get them from is beyond me. If we take our Bible, never mind the 15,000 extra books they've added to theirs, for no reason whatsoever, just because it seemed good and felt good to support what they wanted to propagate to the people to get more money. Not the truth, but anyways, yeah. Which ones? Some of the bizarre people, these angels and saints that people prayed to, those ones there. Yeah. Yes. Anyways, go on. Do what
Well,
you're
it's a totally
saying.
different church, totally different religion. But I remember you and I briefly had been talking about how building a show up. That we did something about St. Patrick because of St.
Oh,
Patrick's
yeah,
Day,
I
and
remember
St.
that.
Patrick is not Catholic; he is Orthodox, Scot Irish Orthodox, which
Right.
is also not a Christian church.
The Scottish right.
Yeah, yes, it's a fascinating story. By the way, if you want to read it, we're not going to go into that. If you want to read about it, it's a really fascinating story. It is also on my Substack and my X articles as a readable article. It's a really fascinating story.
You
Let
know,
me get.
it's good you brought up that because you want to talk about a Protestant Catholic bout. The Irish would have that down to a to a science, wouldn't they?
Right?
They've been throwing sticks and stones to each other now for how many decades? I shouldn't say it's going to be longer than that, but they finally
Thousands of
kind
years.
of kind of
Thousands of years.
settled now that they don't have to kill each other. We don't have the IRA doing anything either. They could just be just kind of at rest now. They got more problems than just that, and I'm glad they're concentrating on other things besides, you know, killing each other for what you believe in. It's just a nasty fight. It was over there. The '70s was brutal. Anyway, sorry I didn't
Oh, of course they were.
go off on a tangent there, but I go off in the weeds quite often that because it's interesting and the history behind that is something to read. It's fascinating. You get William of Orange, and anyways, I don't want to get way off in there, but it's interesting to know.
Well, we can start to spin off after this. So day 3 is All Souls Day, and if you're not Catholic, you probably never you've heard of All Saints Day, you've heard of All Hallows Eve, you've never heard of All Souls Day. So this is commemorating all faithfully departed, the church suffering. Catholic doctrine only believes this, and this is for souls in purgatory, rejected by the Protestants. And you can find that there's. I have a link to this. Uh, it afterwards, where you can find a lot more information about it in the article on Substack or on X, so you can understand where we're going to come from with this. Because deaconchronicle.com is the reference website, but if you click into that, you're gonna start going, what rabbit hole did I just jump down? So, purgatory. What the hell is purgatory?
Yeah, you know what? That's another a money making scheme from the church, the Catholic Church, not the church, but the Catholic Church, if you want to even call it that, to make more money because, uh, and this really gets me because here's where the big dividing line comes where we believe as Protestants, as Christians, as true Christians, that we are saved by faith, not by works. I mean, works come out of faith. There's no doubt about that. The more faithful you are, and the more you follow a certain order of things or being submissive, then you know what? Good works come out of that, and you can see that, but not. You don't have them, to prove anything or to make yourself anything. It just comes as a result of your faith. So grace is really, we're all saved by and through grace from our Father and justified by our faith. So we have to keep that in mind of how that operation works because justification is something that the Catholics do not believe in, justified by faith, because they have faith. It's justified by faith alone. They don't like that word alone. They leave that out. Nah, they have to have the works part, the sacraments, and you have to do all this stuff, jump through all these hoops, turn around, jump on one leg, then go through that hoop and fire, and then finally, maybe, you'll be recognized. And this is how retarded the whole thing gets because that's not what it was all about to begin with. And we have to look at how ridiculous the Catholic, well, traditions. It's not even a church, it's a cult. We always know it's the most successful cult that's ever been on the face of the earth. We've talked about that before, how ridiculous and funny it really is,
I
and why
think the
people.
Islamic cult is slowly catching up.
Yeah, but you know what? How similar they are to Catholicism. And did you know that the Catholics and Islam is trying to get together because they're so similar, anyways? They don't recognize the word love. They always go by law and works. There is no love in any of those two institutions. It just escapes them. They just go by law. They think they. Well, I don't even think they even know what love is. Like think they know what it is. I don't think they really even care, but they certainly do about the law.
They, I would say, as human beings, they probably experience love with other human beings,
Well,
children, wife.
maybe,
Right,
maybe,
right. No, no. But what we're talking about really more is a spiritual love, a love of the Father, a love of
yeah,
Jesus Christ. And you're right. I don't think, and I've I've been in Catholic weddings as one of the groomsmen. I've been in Catholic churches, with family, and when I watch it, when I watch these services, and they mostly speak it in a foreign language. Very little of
Mhm.
it's in English, right? Because that's the way. And I go, I think all the different things when you go through it, you never hear the salvation story, not once, ever.
No, and when we talk about, when I say love's not in it, we talk about love your neighbor as yourself, love your enemies. They don't have that. The Catholics and Islam do not love their enemies. They'll chop your head off. They will kill you. They will excommunicate you, do whatever to rub you out, but they will not have that love for your neighbor or your enemies, what we're taught and preached to generation upon generation. That's just lost. That's just not on them. It's just not in them. And it disappoints me that you've got this huge institution called using a name, a church, and yet don't act like one. They have that place up where you go inside, all these four walls, all decked out, and the gold and silver, so you feel this sense of holiness, perhaps, because they've dressed the setting up, the stage and everything to appear that way, but it's a hollow, empty, ringing left. That's all there is. There's nothing there. The emperor has no clothes for the free speaking to, that just nothingness, empty, hollow soup in all suits and dresses attending. There's nothing inside them. There's no fulfillment, no fillingness of that spirit because they don't look at things that way. And that Holy Spirit is what's supposed to be guiding them, and yet it eludes them. They just don't know what they're doing.
So, did you know? I agree, but I want to go back to purgatory for a minute because for the Christian faith,
Hmm.
salvation is finite. You're either saved, and then you start to try to do everything you can to follow the teachings of Jesus, or you're not. And if you're
Right.
not saved, when you die, you go to the lake of fire. Deal with it. Sucks to be you.
Well, yeah, you
Uh,
hate to
but
have that.
what?
Yeah.
But this purgatory, which All Souls Day, day 3 of all of this Catholic
The
holiday
pure,
period, is
yeah.
they have it as well. These are the people that didn't quite go to heaven, but they're not quite in hell. So this is a place where they go where they have a chance to reform and maybe get into heaven.
Yeah, the purification process of the soul. That's what's happening there. And the more you pay money to the church, you get more days off, knocked off. The more times you go to mass, you get knocked off your own purgatory time. There just it is so nonsensical. I just can't believe the games they're playing with people to make more money. And,
Well,
and
right, they have the Book of John in the Catholic Bible in 3:16, right? For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, and who shall ever believe shall have everlasting life. But they
yeah,
don't go down. They don't follow the gospel. They don't follow the gospels.
no, they don't follow the
They're
God.
aware of them. They are aware of them.
They'd rather play around with these other books they've added into the Bible, like the Book of Enoch and all these other ones. They can just look at supposedly how all this knowledge, which doesn't serve them very well, anyways, but not pay attention to the meat and potatoes, the actual Gospels of where we find ourselves and what we're founded on, our foundation, as he says to you know. Peter, on this government, on this foundation, I will build my church. Not him, not the person, no, but the foundation of what he was practicing and preaching and teaching. But yeah, and the Catholics will look at those. He was talking at Peter, like on Peter I would build. No, God, if that were the case, our Father would have made it more personal. He would have baptized Christ if that were the case to make it loud and clear. Like yes, this is. But anyways, yeah, that's just nonsensical. More brainwashed stuff that's not even true. But going back to the purification process, we were talking about in purgatory, this pretend place. where they're making large off that all over the world. They're making and raking large monies off these people trying to buy out if you can ever buy your way to heaven. This is what the whole premise is, which is ridiculous. But here we find ourselves looking at this just church doing just that. But I guess you got people like Benny Hinn and people running around doing the same thing, which are supposed to be kind of Protestant, kind of, I don't know what they are. So I guess, it's just not them, it's many, many churches. So, but yeah, that one in particular, uh, I can't believe a lot of people got sucked into following. I don't even know how they got sucked into that, but they're following it. They're members. So I'm just trying to reveal some truth so they can find their way back out. Maybe they can buy their way out of the church, get excommunicated and go to a real church, go just, real Bible believing church, which we're all supposed to be doing. And it's by no accident that the church finally allowed these citizens to actually have Bibles that they can read for themselves. Sometimes you have to get permission to read a Bible, which, I find amazing, but that's how they have it. You're not allowed to read the word because you'll know something, you'll question us. And when you question us, the gig's up because now you know the truth and we have nowhere to go to answer. That's why I say, you can ask me, and the Pope, go ahead, call me with these claims you make. Let's discuss this and let's find out where you're getting your facts and information from, because I can guarantee you it's not from the Bible, it's not from our Lord, it's not from our Father, it's man-made. So yeah, out with it already. Priests, cardinals, and whoever else, go ahead, make the phone call. Call me.
That's
Let's have a talk about this, because you'll know that's been all made up, and you've been leading these people astray, making money off them. Go to a real church, and they should all be ashamed of themselves as well to put money as that much of an importance over their, well, what's like 75 years on average. I mean, just blip in time of all eternity, and they're going to give all that up for a few dollars here on Earth, which don't even account for much anyways, but yeah, they're happy with that. They sold out for such a small amount. They sold out for 30 pieces of silver, which is 15 ounces. You got to be kidding me. That was everything in the world is worth that, just that little. And yeah, that's them. So, but
well,
that's not us though.
you bring in a great point that we've been observing for a long, long time as Christians, is this spiritual leader that they put in charge, that's voted in
Oh, yeah.
by leadership, that is supposed to be God on earth in human form, a pope, and
Yeah,
how very different each of the popes have been, that doesn't match up with the Bible, right?
I know. Look,
But some do a little, some do way bad.
yeah,
They right, but
that last one was really liberal. Francis. Oh my gosh.
oh yeah, but right. So again, what we're doing with the Catholic Church, right? We're installing human leaders and putting a barrier, a level in between you, the parishioner, and then them, and then God. So you have no access up here to God. You have to come to your parishioner, whether
Uh-huh.
it be whether it be the priest, whether it be the bishop, or all the hierarchy that's up above that. And even through confession in the Catholic Church versus the Christian Church, you go talk to a human that was put in some sort of superficial charge over you, and you confess your sins there. Whereas Christians, and if they're really good Christians, they just tell God. They're like, bro,
Yeah.
Jesus, I blew it today, bro.
Mm.
I literally blew it. I got angry at my kid. I said something I shouldn't have said. But Catholics are supposed to do that to a human, whereas we talk directly to God.
Constantly, not just once a week. Do it constantly, maybe 5 times an hour, maybe 6 times in 2 hours. I don't know, but it's constant. It's not just, well, once a week I'll go to confession. When's the last time you've been to confession? Well, I don't know, a year ago. Well, get
Yeah,
to it.
last Easter, I
Confession.
only go to church on Easter and Christmas.
Yeah, the full proof that, you know what, if you don't want to spend 5 minutes with our Father here on earth, what makes you think you're going to spend 5 minutes with them when you get to heaven. And that's where the thoughts have to occur to the person. Wow, maybe I do have a lot of work to do here. Maybe I do have to build up a relationship because I'm just going to knock on some rich guy's door in some neighborhood I aspire to and ask to move in with the guy because he won't know me. Who are you? Get lost. But that's what you're expecting when you go to heaven. Don't even know the guy, no relationship, but yet you think you're just going to get waltz right in there, doors and arms wide open, and say, "Oh, welcome. I missed you. I don't even know you." This is what's the thinking is today from especially the Catholics. It just scares me how divided, how far away they are from actual. Here's something scary. Talk about Mary being a co-redeemer. Many Catholics don't want to admit that, but she is slated as that. This isn't my rules. I didn't write the catechisms, or the canons or anything else. This is them. I'm just telling you what they believe. Many Catholics say, "No, that's not." Well, it is. You better read your own works then, or your beliefs then, if you don't believe what I'm telling you, because it's right in there. It's written right in there. A co-redeemer. Here's what's even scarier. They have mass and they have the Eucharist, where they'll have the bread of body of Christ and they break it. The priest actually prays, reaches up to heaven, pulls down Christ, to the altar again to go through another sacrifice. Why they have to do this all the time? It was one and done. It was done once. That's all you need. No, every mass is done this way. Some retarded reason, and he pulls him down, and Christ has his head bowed. He's all because humans are so important. More so than God. This is what the Catholics say. It's just so retarded. And then thinking that now that we're so above it all, that he'll actually do what we desire if we ask and beg Mary enough. Then she'll go to Jesus because Jesus always follows his mother, because we're trying to create this great matricide, because this is this I guess you could say Latin way of life or living, that having a matriarch is much more important than having a patriarch. And if you're in America or Canada, we're our patriot nations. We have father, patriot, father at the head, not a mother, not a woman, because that's the very thing that brought us down to begin with. But nope, they're trying to have the whole thing back to the way it was to begin with.
Betsy Ross flag on my hat.
Good for
Not a
her.
founding father, a very important part of the American Revolution, not a founding father. And she did a great thing by this 13 star
Yeah, lovely
flag.
story. That was a
But
great story.
to your point, right? Patriots, founding fathers, uh,
Correct.
not Betsy Ross is a saint.
I know. And this is the problem with the Catholics trying to make everything woman, like woman is so great. I am woman, hear me roar. Woman is the greatest. Woman is this. Woman is moon. Forget the sun. Forget, our father. Even it just drives me insane. These limp wristed, Spanish, Latin, Roman citizens. I mean, oh my gosh. I mean, people, please, really? I mean, they ruled over people that had no weapons. I mean, how hard is that? Not hard at all. It's like, taking England, we're going to take all your guns and we're going to rule you with billy clubs. No, we're going to have the guns now. You'll have nothing still. And you're going to do what we say because, well, we got, like, how hard is that, people? Like, there's no thinking out there. The reason is just gone from them. They can't think of their way out of a paper bag. And yet we're electing these officials to run our governments and churches. It just, it floors me. But anyways, getting back to the crux of the whole thing, yeah, I'm so disappointed in how people look at things and wanting this matriarch, and why they would support that and why they believe that to be the best end all and be all of any government is beyond me. But here we are, in this late stage. What are we, 2025? Believing this crap. But yeah, and I don't think it's people don't want to say anything. Maybe they're just too afraid to say something. I don't know, but it's obvious. It should be common sense by now.
Well, I also believe that even in the Christian world, but just in general, in the Catholic world, the Lutheran world, the Methodist world, with the Episcopal world, we the right, we just go on and on about that side, the non-Islamics,
Sometimes we
right?
do.
Is that most people don't even participate anyways. And I'm not telling you that you have to show up at a building on Sunday. What I am telling you is that you do
Ah,
have to get together with where one or more gather, or where two or more gather, right? So like there's great resources on Spaces, on Facebook, on
yeah.
Rumble, on like where you can just get together and have a moment to worship, and that therein is a church. So no, you
Yeah.
don't have to
It's
go
not
to
the
the
four walls. You're right. The four walls, that's a Catholic way of, yes, when you have four walls, this huge cathedral, that's church. No, we are the church, the people, but that has been lost on them too. Not a clue, because they're going back to the old Jewish law with the temple, the curtain. But,
You don't need deacons, you don't even need a pastor. A
well,
pastor would be great
in
if
a
you happen
church,
to have a buddy who's a pastor, but, like, it's about your personal study,
if you're getting
and then
into
sharing that, with
yeah,
your friends, the
if you're
church.
getting if you're getting into a big organization, a church like that, you're definitely going to need some leadership and deacons and whatnot.
No,
Yeah,
no, no.
in that case,
I
you want
get
to.
that, and I'm not knocking on these super ultra mega churches for bringing people in and baptizing them and preaching the gospel to
Yeah,
them.
okay, I got you now. All right, yeah.
But I'm saying if you've already went through that and you're like, man, that is not for me. You don't have like you could still practice your Christian faith and talk with buddies, and be like, oh man, I just saw this, or I just figured out how this connection from the Bible works to real life and this news story that I just saw on social media.
That's great, church. No, that's great. But we still are commanded to still meet with one another and go to church, and help those. Even if you're not getting anything out of it, it's still your duty to give to others and share, and be there for them. Big lesson I learned in my life. Nonetheless, yeah, you can still have church outside of that, but you still should go as often as you can. And I'm saying you should be going, to Sundays just to be there for other people. But that's just me and how I see and read things and what I believe is right for me to do. But church, Wednesday night, Friday night, I don't care if
Yeah.
you want to talk about. I'll do it. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm in. You got questions? Even if I don't have the answers, at least I know where to get them. I'd email you the answers you even want. So, but anyways, that's getting back off into the field of weeds again, and we could be all day there too. But yeah, going, getting outside that third day of that Souls Day, Purification Day in Purgatory. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. The false holding place, because that's nothing. What else do you word it as? It's just a place where you're not in hell, but you're not in heaven. You're just there in purgatory. I guess waiting to get somebody, to have mercy and buy you out with money and pray for you so you get, more
Well,
purified. I don't
it
know.
so if
I
your soul
don't
has already left your body, and your soul's now in this thing called purgatory, how is your soul supposed to make the proper redemptions, to get you into heaven? That's always been bizarre to me, because you don't have a physical body anymore to go atone for anything.
Not just that, the whole game afoot here is we have this human body, fallen nature, with all kinds of desires, all kinds of emotions and everything running all over the place. We have to wheel that in and tame that. We have to educate that. And that's where all the temptation and crime comes from, the actual human experience in this spiritual universe, world. They don't get that. Once that is separated, the game's done. Time's done. You're done. There is no more educated or training. You've had your chance when you're in the body, because once the body's gone, everything's easy then. That's like saying that, once I'm out of the fire, I'll feel so much better. I'll be, more relaxed, more, thinking better. I can, well, yeah, but that's because you're out of the flames now. You're in the flames here in the body on earth here. When you're out, of course, it's going to be easier. So, there is no possible way that you could redeem yourself outside the body after it's all. That's why it's a one and done. You don't get 50 million chances, after you die. It's once you die, that's it. The game's over. You're judged on where you left off. That's it. Game over. Like,
Wait, so you're telling me, and this is a totally different religion than Catholicism, but like if I'm just a bad human in life, I don't come back. I come back. I don't come back as a fly, and try to redeem myself so that I can come back after I get swatted and squished as a great white shark,
Hindu.
and then after 300 years, when my great white shark buddy dies, I did such good sharking that I can be a human again. Maybe.
Yeah.
Probably not a human, but a chimpanzee.
Yeah, isn't that funny that Hinduism relief is just like that? At those nine circles, you get reincarnated as something else up to nine times, then you die forever. That's that same stupidity that we're just talking about with this Catholic faith. It's retarded. After nine times of going through all that pain and growing and whatnot, just to overall at the end of the whole thing die anyways. What's the point? What's the purpose? Where's the scoring system? Where's the goal lines? There's nothing. It's just absolutely retarded. And we can go back into, if you want to talk about the Islamic faith. As a matter of fact, there's this book I read a long time ago. I didn't read the whole thing because it's huge. It's called Kingdom of the Cults. It's all the religions you have from Jehovah Witnesses, how they started. The Joseph Smith from what's that? The LD, later Latter Day Saints.
Latter Day Saints, LDS.
There's so many of these in this book of these cults, and that's a good read because it gives you the foundations of what you're actually believing in and how they started and how they sucked these people into getting to where they are today. But Christianity hasn't been tried and left found wanting. It's just that Christianity hasn't been tried at all, and this is the crux of the whole thing. People just not enough people, I should say, are trying it. They're all down on Christianity, and they think, "Wait a minute, that wasn't Christianity at all. That was this, or that was that, or that was Hindu or Buddhist, or whatever. That wasn't Christianity." You got the whole thing mixed, but people don't know enough to know the
And
difference.
they do they blur things together.
Oh yeah, everybody's
Fiction
the
books.
same.
We were talking a couple days ago about how fiction books work their way into this, like
Hmm,
Dante's Inferno,
yeah.
right? And the seven layers of
Yeah.
purgatory or the seven layers of hell.
Yes, that's another ridiculous. That's almost like as ridiculous as the Islamic, the when the Muhammad gets on that winged horse and goes to a planet and flies back again. I'm thinking, well, why do you need the winged horse if you can make it out there with that no oxygen, no nothing, with a horse? Then you don't need the horse because you're already gone there and back. Which was a horse? You just did it on your own. I don't even understand the symbolism between the winged horse. Why even have them? But
Why do they? I don't even remember the number, but 77 rings a bell. Why do they need all these virgins?
oh God, the 72. Yeah, I don't know why they need seven. I don't even want. I can only handle one. Could you imagine having 72 of those? You're constantly talking. Oh my God, shut up already. I wouldn't. No man was going to want to have 72 women around him. One is all I can handle. I'm telling you right now. That's it. And sometimes I just like quiet time.
Yeah, right.
Every two of them.
So
Oh,
that's supposed to be some sort of reward.
My
What?
cousin, my cousin always told me. He says he always gets because he's a minister. He's our minister. He says I always get asked the question, "Will there be marriage in heaven?" He said, "That would be like hell, not heaven."
Well, no, if you
Just
look at
kidding,
that,
of
right,
course. But
because all of a sudden your human body lusts and desires are no longer there because you don't
right,
have the human body, but
correct.
you're going to be overwhelmed by the love of God. So it'll be a totally different euphoria, and you're just like that. Your humanly way is your human body that has these desires that wants to do for anyone, like whatever it is, hunter smoking crack, or doing cocaine off hookers' asses. That you don't have that body. It can't experience any
No,
of that because now you're just a soul. You're your original form, which God created you as, and
yeah,
turned you into a human so you could have the human experience so that you could understand
yeah.
what heaven euphoria will be like because this is not heaven. This
And
is your
like
test.
yeah, and like I say, this is your mission, Jim. Should you choose to accept it, and many people don't want to, and that's fine. They're going to end up in their appropriate spots or places that they want to be in. Most people don't want to hang around or be with God. That's fine. There's a place for you already made, and that's the answer. there is no second chances after that. You don't get to say, "Well, I made a mistake." Now, sitting here, you know, sitting here in purgatory,
Right.
thinking without any body that, hey, you know what? I don't have a body. I don't think the same. I don't feel the same anymore. Yeah, I made a lot of mistakes, but it's too late now. Yeah, because there is no place, or you're asleep until that day of judgment, and it's going to be the books opened. And are you in that book of life? Are you not in that book of life? And
Well,
that's the sad.
one thing I want to bring up, and maybe you could verify or not, but from my learnings, you could also make a really terrible bad sin, and for Christians, really bad. Maybe it was adultery, or it was one of the carnal sins, right?
All right.
Hear me out. But then, like, while you're still a human, you can actually go through the process then, while you're alive, atoning for that, actually making
Well, of
the
course.
apology, whether it's even to the person or not to the person, because you can no longer talk to that person, and asking for forgiveness. But the whole thing is that and you must be honest about this, is you need to seek forgiveness for the sin,
Yeah,
even if you're saved.
I know that. Yeah.
Being saved doesn't just get you in. You
Well, yeah,
also have to
a
do
contrite
you
heart.
also have to beg for forgiveness, even if you
Yeah.
can't do it directly to the person. Say maybe car accident, like you made a mistake. Somebody lost their life. You cannot possibly beg for the forgiveness, but you can through Jesus.
There's only one unforgivable sin, and that is quenching the Holy Spirit. Other than that, there is no sin that is too great, to be forgiven for. And we can do, gosh, that's a whole hour dialogue, grieving the Holy Spirit itself. I mean, we don't even have the time to even go into that, well, because we're out of time. But that is interesting, grieving the Holy Spirit, because that's a very interesting one, the unforgivable sin. But everything else that you can think of or imagine is completely forgivable. Now, of course, the greater the sin means that that darkness has manifested or drove itself deeper in you, manifested itself in you deeper. Yeah, that's where you get to see exactly where a person's at, or where their heart's at, by how they're living and what they think is funny or whatever. That's where you get to see the depth of the person, the depth of
Oh,
that.
100% agree. And that's where you see even a lot of people like to rip on Christians who
Yeah,
do very
yeah,
bad behavior. Well, what they don't get, and there's bad Christians. They're bad humans. Lots and lots and lots of bad humans.
yeah.
Is that uh, this whole thing, the not only the gift of salvation, but the gift of forgiveness from our Lord, our Father.
Uh-huh.
If and you don't have to do any steps. You don't have to hit rosary beads. You
Well,
don't have to. You don't have to go to a confessional, but you do have to confess to
yeah,
Jesus.
and you don't need
It
your
just
lucky
goes straight
charms.
to Jesus,
Yeah,
and
you
then
don't need
you
your
and then you have
lucky
to
charms.
live a different life after you've done that, and there you go.
It's true. Yeah, you don't need your lucky charms to have forgiveness either. Go through that.
Right?
I eat mine, but yeah, you don't need that. That's just ridiculous stuff.
Did you see they're gonna take the color out of the, Lucky Charms, marshmallows?
No, I did not know.
Yeah, yeah, it's a whole Maha thing. Apparently food dyes kills everybody.
Actually, that is true. We don't really want food dyes, but I just eat them because, well, and I'm going to try Lucky Charm. Now you mentioned that. No, I don't think so. Wait, I'd be shivering with sugars. Ugh. Oh, by the way, hey, you mentioned that word Lord. Whenever people don't realize that that word Lord, when you use it, means owner, ownership. So you're admitting and acknowledging to our Father that He owns our souls. He is the Lord or the owner over them, the owner of them. You're acknowledging that, like a landlord, landowner, landlord. I mean, this is what House of
Yeah.
Lords, England, owner. So you know what you have to know that, because people always get freaked out when you say that, and I've always had some people ask me about that. But that's all it means when you're saying, "Well, is Jesus going to be your owner or Lord?" or is the other darker side? It depends on who you're calling Lord. So, anyways, just I throw that in there just for your
Yeah, no, it's a great
useless
observation, great
information.
point.
When you mentioned that word, I thought I'd just throw it in there.
Well, and you look at that, humans obviously took on that form, whether it was landlords, and there. Listen, I there's plenty of good landlords. I've had several.
Yeah.
There's plenty of bad ones, or
Yeah.
or kings that say you will address me as your lord,
Right. Yes. Lord.
right?
Yes.
So
And yeah, this is why Christians can't be controlled, and why they kill us off is because we don't bend the knee to Catholicism, which is why they chopped our heads off back in the 1500s and before that, right back to the days of Christ. As a matter of fact, after he died, that's when the Romans were after us, and you had the Knights Templars, which was the black pope. Uh, Executive people picked to kill the Christians and go after them, because you had to mix with them, pretend you were one of them when you weren't. Then you got to kill them off and take all their money and their houses. And the church got that's how the church got so rich so fast, was by taking everything from the Christians. People don't understand that part of history. So yeah, Peter was the first pope. Yeah, come on, people. I mean,
wait,
idiots, absolute idiots.
Didn't
Huh?
the Catholic Church start like 400 years after Peter?
Actually, yeah. Well, actually, that would be the very first Pope Leo, because now we have, is it Leo the 14th now? I can't remember, or the
I
third,
think
the
so.
14th, I
I think
think.
he's 14th.
Yeah, so that would be correct, and that would be around 400 AD. So, but yeah, the Roman Catholic Church has been around. Well, like I say, the first 4 years after Christ's death, when the emperor was Caesar was so ticked off at how fast Christians were growing, and they weren't worshiping their gods and paying them their money. But they got along so well. He says, "Look at those people down there, always, they don't need or want for anything. They share all their food, they share everything, and he admired that, and he was jealous. And that's why, Christians were soon to be, hunted down and killed. And you weren't allowed to worship any other God but the way he wanted you to worship. Yeah, or accept Christianity, worship it the way we'll tell you how to worship it, the Roman emperor way. And that's where Roman Catholicism, Roman Universal, started. A universal religion for the whole kingdom of Rome can be worshipped this way through these laws and nothing else. And if you didn't bend the knee to what I want you to believe in, then you were killed off or put into the Colosseum for sport or whatever. And this is how
Mhm.
the whole, and that's Roman, and it happened again. You say, well, that only happened back. Oh, yeah? What about the 1500s, when if you didn't, Queen Mary Bloody Hearts, Catholic, if you went and didn't believe in ballot your knee to the Catholic king, queen, then you lost your head, or you were burned at the stake, actually, with the pages of the Bible. His father even believed that. Oh my gosh, what a horrid, horrid religion to follow. It's just so, it's blood sport. It's just unbelievable. That's why the Islam and Catholic are so tightly tied together, and they're becoming one as that coexist group goes, because they're so alike. They have no heart. So yeah,
I'm just gonna make a distinction here that those two groups, once they're successful at doing what they do, both
oh,
Catholics and Islam,
yeah.
will separate in war.
Oh yeah,
They will.
they'll kill us. I know that they're already out for us
Well,
now.
no, I'm saying once if they're successful as a team, once they conquer their goal to end Christianity, then Catholics and Islam are
Yeah,
going to war.
correct.
It's a marriage of convenience.
Uh huh.
It right,
And
they're teaming up.
because they're basically, well, they're satanic anyways. Satanic verses from Solomon Rushdie and the Islamic verses, our book. I mean, the catechisms, the whole thing is exactly the same as them anyways. I mean, who's kidding who? It is a marriage made in heaven. Those two religions coexisting, or coming together. So yeah, I mean, it's just as, it's, what would you say an old term would be, uh, two peas in a pod, I guess, because they're so cozy with each other now.
No, totally. But again, you could see this in different parts of history too, where people groups, factions team up because they have a common enemy. And if they defeat that common enemy, then they just go to war with each other because they're warfaring people, other warfaring factions or groups. And
Mm,
that's what I see here with Catholics, with Islam, and you'll still see a lot of Catholics online. You'll see them talk, and they don't think any of this is happening, or they don't realize it. And I hope that they do. I hope that they focus more on the Gospels, because Islam,
yeah.
if given the army of Catholics, Islam will conquer all, including the Catholics. And I don't think they see that.
No, I don't think so either. And Rome's got too much money anyway. So you can see that nine of the, was there 54 Islamic countries, nine of them together, I mean, have enough wealth to, I guess, overcome that too. So who knows? I guess that could be quite the history lesson
Oh,
in
they've
the
got
future.
plenty of cash
Yeah,
right now.
yeah, I'm talking. Yeah, um, I was going to make a point. I forgot all of a sudden. I don't know what I was going to say. I
Ah,
forgot.
I love when I do
Ah,
that. I absolutely love when I do that.
out of
Anyway,
time.
we gotta close this one out, everybody. Great episode of
Oh,
Yankee and the Canuck.
one more thing. We're not here to beat up on Catholics or brothers and sisters. You know, we still love them very much.
We'll totally beat
In
up
fact,
on
we're
Islam.
just trying to save them a whole world of hurt later on and come talk to us. I've always said, if you have any questions or whatever. Now, you know, Sean, we brought this up before. Any questions, what? Email, go ahead. We'll talk. I mean, we're not opposed to doing that. We're supposed to be coming together, not drifting apart. And as far as we've got with these two, well, religions, but yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So
I
in
just want to insert.
the email for the show is sean.strom@gmail. I will get it to the appropriate member of whatever podcast it was directed at, because we do a lot of different themed shows, whether it be military, or whether it be Doctor I Am the Science, or we do this one with Edward, Yankee and the Canuck. Yeah, email us, send us comments directly to our X accounts. If you can't get through to Edward because of whatever restrictions, my DMs are open. Send it to me. I'll make sure Edward sees it.
Yeah.
We'll try to answer your questions. No, we're not going to be able to answer them instantaneously. We have jobs, we have families, we have stuff to do, but we'd be glad to get back to you. We'd be glad to get in touch with you. And actually, one of your questions might inspire a whole show,
Ah, yes.
right?
Good. You never know.
All
All
right,
right.
let's close this one out, man.
Very good then.